Hello everybody and welcome to another monthly CPD and business building webinar with the IAPC&M. And today in the hot seat we have the lovely Carole Rice, the co-founder of, the founder of Pure Coaching Academy. Hello Carole.
Hi everybody, nice to be here.
Thank you for joining us. And we've already got plenty of people online and I know plenty more will be joining us. So if I could just ask everybody to mute themselves, except obviously when they've got a question, and Carole would welcome questions throughout her talk, so you don't have to leave them until the end. But just to introduce Carole properly, I've known Carole for a couple of years, and I always think of her as a bit of a media darling, because every newspaper or social media, I always see her, either her or her lovely logo, which you can see behind her, and that's because she's a journalist. She writes for The Express. She's an author. She's written a couple of books. She has her very well-established coaching academy. People want to interview her. She has students from every walk of life, from ordinary people like myself to multi-millionaires on her courses. And she's very passionate about people getting a positive return on investment from their coaching training. So Carole said it was one of her bugbears. And I said, well, let's talk about it. Let's set up a conference call. So that's what we're going to talk about for the next 30, 40 minutes or so. And as I say, you can ask your questions when you're ready. So over to you, Carole. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Thank you very much, Dawn. That's a lovely introduction. And yes, 30 years a journalist, 17 years a coach. And when I trained 19 years ago, it was with Coach U in America. I had to phone America 5 hours a week to get the modules. It cost a lot. I've got £3,500 19 years ago, so a lot of money spent on my coach training. So I saw it as a proper career. In America, coaches are earning $10,000 a day. Why isn't it that we aren't up there on the career professional ladder and earning the same here? And I don't think we need to be embarrassed or shy about wanting to earn money out of being great life coaches. We invest in our coach training. It's right that we should charge accordingly and have full practices and be considered as career professionals up there with doctors, lawyers, GPs, accountants. We change people's lives, we do amazing things, and therefore we should be making some good money at this. So over the last 17 years, I've been passionate about being a great coach, obviously, attracting really good clients, having a great coaching academy where I train people to be really good life coaches, super world-class life coaches, but I also am really madly passionate about every coach earning what they're worth, what they're due, and not starting out saying, oh, I'll charge £25 an hour with a kind of begging bowl. But if you want to charge £250 an hour or £2,000 a day, then great. But we all have to do this one thing, which is basically do a bit of selling. Now, we all have our websites. Maybe you're on Instagram, Facebook, different ways of promoting yourself. But at the end of the day, at one point, you will have a client in front of you or on a phone call who's interested in your services. And then sometimes we can get off the phone or leave that person and think, I kind of blew that. I could have turned that into a sale, but how? How do I go from having a nice conversation about how I might help them into closing the sale? And it took me years to master this, because I get off the phone and think, oh, I could have done that better, or I let that person think about it and I should have just nailed it. Are you going to be a client? Well, how can I follow up? How can I make sure that this person will come back and say yes? So over the 17 years, I've invested a lot of money working with sales coaches as well, who taught me a kind of magic turnaround, how to turn that 30-minute discovery call into a sale, a client, whatever way you want to look at it, but without it feeling like you're doing a hard sell on someone, because that always makes us feel uncomfortable. But sell we must, whether you make cakes or make fascinators. At the end of the day, you've got to sell those cakes, as they're going to go off. You've got to sell those fascinators, otherwise a lot of feathers and felt left on a shelf. As coaches, we have to sell our services and be confident in doing that. Now, I know it's excruciating. However, there are some very, very simple non-salesy techniques I want to share with you when you get a client, a potential client, a hot lead on the phone who's booked a discovery call with you, and you can turn that 30 minutes into a guaranteed sale, a client. So get your pens and papers ready, because I'm going to set the context first of all. The first thing as a coach, you have to think, right, somebody wants to have a chat with me. They have booked on the phone a trial session, discovery call. That's great. So that means this person on the phone is very interested, above all other people, coming to you to see what it's all about. They may have got the booking via your website, or you've been networking. Somehow or other, they're in your diary, they want to talk to you. So think to yourself, why might that be? So what I do before I even speak to the person who's phoning me, I would have emailed them and say, really looking forward to your call at 3 p.m. today. Could you just send me a brief email saying why you might need coaching right now, and what would be a desirable outcome from using a life coach? This little email, and which they will send back to me in plenty of time before the call, perhaps you'd send that a few days before the call, then gets them to buy into the idea of, I'm now going to speak to a coach. What do I really want? So there's a certain, now the client is buying into this process. They're having to think, why am I speaking to this coach? Well, relationship, career, got an idea for a book or a business, I'm overweight, I want to start running, whatever it is. So they have invested in sending you that email. This is great. So this is you getting a bit of Sherlock Holmes evidence and clues about the potential of your client. So read what they say, read between the lines, ask yourself these questions. How important is it for them to want to change this situation? So already they've prepared themselves for the call. Who hasn't in previous times had someone on the call saying, and you say, how can I help you? And they say, you tell me. And they've got a bit of a strange attitude, like, well, you're the life coach, you tell me how you can help me. But sending this previous email gets them to say how they want you to help them. So that helps you a lot. So you get on the call, always start with something incredibly upbeat. They might be a little bit nervous. Chances are a large majority of the people phoning you have never ever spoken to a life coach in this context before. They might have met one at a party or a networking event, but they've never thought, gosh, I'm committing myself to a half-hour chat for something that will potentially change my life. It is a little bit daunting. And I think we forget that as coaches, that even speaking to a coach, when you've never had this in your life, it seems like you've gone to Harry Potter and what are they going to do, turn you into a dragon or a unicorn or something. They think we have these superpowers. So remember, they're going to be a little bit apprehensive when they come on the phone. So your first interaction with them, as the clock goes on to the hour and they phone, is to be incredibly upbeat. So it's, oh, hi, Steve. How are you today? It's Carole here. By the way, if anyone wants to jump in and ask a question, please do. So you're very positive. You answer the phone with their name. Hi, is that Steve? Hi, how are you today? Tell me, I always say, tell me what the best thing about today has been. Now, if they're in quite a dark place, they're having to think about it. And they might even say, having this phone call, or let me have a think. So you want to get their energy raised immediately. So it's asking them, what's the best thing that happened today? And to share a little bit about, well, actually, I had a good day too. I had a lovely run around the park, met my friend for a coffee, sun shining, it's all good. So you let them know you're a little bit human as well, and not this super coach that has all the answers. So you sound upbeat, you're positive, and you get them in the mood for positivity and eager to find out what's going to come up. And then you say, thank you very much for sending me your, I've just got some slides here. Thank you very much for sending me your little email about yourself. So it was a career relationship. Tell me a bit more about it. So ask them to expand on what they've said in the email and listen and take notes. Listen to what you're hearing between the lines. How's the voice sounding? Sad, downbeat, sighing, or resigned, or quite happy or positive. So make notes that you have noticed about their mood and energy. And keep key words. So it's, I'm feeling sad, or I feel really down, it's draining my energy. I keep doing the same thing. So these are your clues that you're going to come back with. Now, you know that some people, once they get on the call, will love to just download about their whole issue. And it's your job to manage that half an hour, because you might have another person phoning on the half hour. So you really have to manage the time you've got with your potential sale. So what are you discovering? How can you label it? They're tired, they're frustrated, they're upbeat, they're anxious, they're fed up, they've had enough, they've tried a lot of things. Write down these things, because you're going to feed it back to them as the call goes on. So I always listen, and if it sounds like it's going to go on for some time and it's 15 minutes past, I might say something like, that sounds like it's been really hard for you. So sound empathetic, even if it's been really dreadfully sad, like they may have had some real traumas. Don't get too much into the sadness. You say something like, that sounds like it's been tough, but how good that you're on this call tonight. So don't get involved in the story. If it's been hugely traumatic, you want to not keep it light, but just sort of allow the fact that there's the possibility there's some great new things coming their way via you. And thank you so much for telling me about your current situation. What I'm hearing is that you do sound like you've tried a lot of things. You show the empathy, you give back to me. It sounds like you've tried a lot there, or you've been tolerating so many things. And maybe show a little bit of your coaching skills. When we tolerate negative things, it drains our energy. So it sounds like because you've been tolerating for this for so long, you're quite down, you're quite depleted by it. What would life look like if you didn't have this in your life? So you get them to start to say what the best case scenario would be. If they haven't got there yet, you might say, well, if you could wave a magic wand, you know, that famous question, how would you like your life to look? This is your cue, coaches, to start to make notes on what they want to achieve. So if they say, oh gosh, if I had all the confidence in the world, yes, what would you change? Well, I'd probably give up my job. As you start writing things down, I would probably do this. Then you might say, how is it currently holding you back then? So what you're doing here is, and it's really important, is don't give away your coaching tools. You're simply asking a few questions to set the scene for them. You're not providing any solutions whatsoever. What I used to do wrong was get someone on the phone and try and fix them there and then, and share my fabulous coaching toolkit, and then have an aha moment and think, oh, don't need Carole now. That was brilliant. Wow, I've never thought of it like that. I'll think about it. Thanks so much. And off they go. I'm like, gosh, I just blew my chances there by trying to impress or just letting my coaching skills run away with me. You can be coachy, but you're not providing any sense of fixing or getting an aha moment or helping them overcome anything there and then. You're merely saying, what would life look like? What's the best case scenario? If you were working with a coach, what would be the desired outcome? So really helping them to start to see the wonderful potential of life without this issue, or having created the thing they want to create, or the life that they're dreaming of. That is your goal, because that's what you're going to help them do. And they can't do it on their own. That's why they're speaking to you. So you start to comment on, gosh, so you would do this, would you? You'd go traveling, or you might start writing a book. And that sounds amazing. And really make the dream the goal so fantastic. So it's starting to become real to them. Don't forget, you've only got 15 or 20 minutes as you go along. So then you have to be very aware of the time, because you have got to manage the time and how you're going to turn this around into a sale. So I always say, what kind of impact is this having on your life right now? So I get them to say, well, I'm unable to do this, or I haven't got promotion. And they start to talk about how it's holding them back, and then you make all the sympathetic noises. Now, I sometimes say, have you ever used a coach before? And, some have, some haven't. Mostly they haven't. So have you got any questions you'd like to ask me? Now, this is really important, because they go mostly over the years. I have got a set of potential answers here, or questions here, that people ask. So the first thing is, yeah, how does it work? The client will say, yeah, well, how does this coaching work? So my question to you, coaches, how do you answer that? If anyone wants to jump in now and say, if someone wants to say to you, well, it sounds great, but how does it work? What will you say to that potential client? So obviously we all know how we work, but how does it work? I don't believe it can change me, someone said. I just finding it hard to believe that this can actually change me. So you're going to be put on the spot and asked, well, how does it work? So you need to have a very clear answer for your potential client. How would you like our coaching to work? Well, that's very good. I like that. How would you like? So that's from Helen. So is it that you would say, Helen, how do you want it to work for you? That's really good. I like that. I'll use that one. So how does coaching work? Well, what do we do? Well, we could do this, have a Zoom call. We can talk on the phone. I have a club where we can meet face to face. But what is it like therapy? So that's the next thing you'll get asked. So what is your answer to, is it like therapy? If anyone wants to jump in and say what they say when the potential client says, well, is it therapy? I'm worried about a can of worms being opened up and I don't want to be crying all the time. So you really need to have a compelling answer. So has anyone got any takes on how to answer that? Is it therapy? Is it like therapy? What's the difference between coaching and therapy?
And again, I know some people are using the chat boxes, but you can actually unmute yourself and ask Carole and directly if you like.
Yeah.
And I would say definitely no, it's nothing like therapy. It's very results orientated, and whereas you might be in therapy for years dealing with all the back issue of why you're in this situation, we're not really interested in the why. We're more interested in what is it you want in the future and exploring what are the obstacles you've got to get to achieve that, and actually it can be pretty fast. So that would be my quick answer.
That's great. And it's not the why. Yeah, you could find out why, that it was a boy who bullied you in the playground when you were 3 years old. What we need, what coaching does is provide the how do I move on from that. And therapy won't give you the how. We will. We provide you with real tools and real techniques and real support to move you from where you are now to where you want to be. And no, we won't go poking around in the past forevermore. That's what the therapist does. It's about this very moment in time, the present moment here now with me, and your future is what we're focused on. We might just have to briefly look about what's gone on in the past, but we don't live there. We're future orientated. So in that way, it's very, very positive. Also, we're action and process. We're an action and process discipline. So we don't just think about things like therapy does, where you have time to meditate and overthink and ponder what went on. We give you action steps to take so you physically see the progress week by week. So don't forget, you've only got 15 minutes. So you've got to get really quick at answering these questions in a way that is convincing and down pat and easily understandable and very, very positive. And the thing is, we want to see results. You will see results. I even say from the first session, I guarantee you will feel considerably lighter and more positive about your future. That's a nice thing to hear, isn't it? Guarantees. What if it doesn't work? Someone okay, well, what if it doesn't work? Well, it works with everyone else, but it doesn't work with me. I'm a really tough character. I'm really stuck. What do we say to that? What if it doesn't work? Any suggestions, anyone? Because I have a wonderful one that I say, which is I guarantee it will work. How can you guarantee it? Because if you do the homework, and I've 17 years behind me, and I've trained with the best, and I've done the proper coach training. If you do the right steps and you do your homework, and with my support, I guarantee you will get there. If you don't, and you refuse to do anything, and you just resist and stay the same, you will stay the same. So it's like, going to the gym. If you do the sit-ups, you will eventually get a flatter stomach. You can't go to the gym and just sit on the side and drink coffee and think, I'm at the gym. Why aren't I getting any fitter? So I guarantee it will work. Yes, change is uncomfortable if you're committed to your change in future. Exactly. And it will be, I say, it's counterintuitive. I don't use the word uncomfortable. So it just feels a bit counterintuitive, like the shoes are a bit too tight for a while, and then they eventually feel a lot softer. So be prepared that it will feel a little bit odd, but trust the process. Okay, well, that sounds good so far. Well, why does it cost so much? Why does it cost all this? Aren't you just a paid-for friend? I'm not paying this. You're what? £200 an hour? What can I expect? Why does it cost so much? You've really got to get into your superpower coach, because you can't do it on your own. That's why you're speaking to me, because I'm going to help you make real and sustainable changes that will last. And it's not forever. It's not for years and years and years of coaching. It's a relatively short period of time, but you're going to make these huge, powerful changes in your life that you can't do on your own with a professional who's going to help you move over this crossroads. It's an investment. It's not like therapy, as you said, Dawn, years and years and years of it. It is a relatively small investment of time, and it's something that you'll look back on and think, I'm so glad I invested in myself.
I just want to ignore, if I may, Carole and everybody. I used to support Xerox many, many years ago, and they used to say, people would say, what, £99 for getting the photocopier working in those days, 20, 30 years ago. And he said, well, actually, and they would say, you only, tapped it on the side and it just came into life. And he said, well, it's £1 for tapping it. It's £98 for knowing where to tap it.
That's right.
Paying for the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get into justifying and proving. When you prove, you lose, because it sounds like, and another thing, and another thing. It's like, you could say, yeah, I hear you. It does sound like a lot of money, doesn't it? And but let me tell you, I have spent thousands of pounds on my training. I've had many hours, hundreds, whatever, thousands of hours of working with people. And these are tried and tested tools that are guaranteed to change your life. And you can read the books. Who hasn't got a bookshelf full of personal development books you read halfway through and then you abandon them? I don't abandon my clients. My job is to get you where you want to be on your terms, and I guarantee you I can help you.
I would always ask them, if somebody asks me, gosh, that, or says, that sounds like a lot of money, I say, that's interesting. In relation to what?
Yes. Yes.
A hairstyle, a Prada handbag, new shoes, a holiday? In relation to what? This is going to change your life.
Yes, exactly.
But get them to think about it.
Yeah, and reminding them as well of all the great outcomes that they're looking to achieve as well. I think it's the cost. When you're a new coach, it's saying how much you charge is one of the most uncomfortable things. Now, if you do have a lot of discomfort around saying, oh, I am X amount per hour, one of the things I do as well, when they've booked the discovery call, is send the email, please send me a brief description of your current situation and how I might help you. The second thing is, here's a link to my packages and programs on my website for you to be familiar with before you get on the call. I am completely transparent. On my website are all my packages. It may mean that 1 in 10 doesn't make the call because they've seen the prices, but usually there's a bit of a filter through. I'm quite open. This is what I charge. It starts from about £800. It goes up to £3,000. You've got an idea already before you get on the call and some brilliant clients have already decided which package they want, so that's great. So if you do have any embarrassment issues around money, you could have also given them the steer on the previous email. Here's a guide to my pricing. But even if they do say, I haven't looked at it yet, have the courage to speak up and to explain why the packages cost what they do and what they get for that. And when sometimes people say, well, what's the super duper VIP package? Does that mean you give me excellent coaching? And if I take the smaller package, you only give me a little bit of coaching? No, that's not how it works. The VIP package means I might send all the written notes of our coaching session afterwards to you in a format that you could keep in a book, say. So I would spend an hour writing up all the notes, suggested homework. So the added value of the bigger packages is the things that take me time, and they might get an hour and a half instead of an hour. So you have to be very clear on how you have priced things and what they get for the package that they've chosen. And again, you've still only got half an hour to do all this. So imagining the next question might be, so what do I have to do? What sort of homework? So you might give them some ideas, or it could be doing some research, it could be doing a vision board, it could be just trying some different things that we've agreed on in the session, being accountable, letting you know how you're getting on, but basically trying to do things a bit differently. So you'll notice the time is coming to the end of the call. You might say something like, okay, so it's been really good to talk to you, Steve. Let me get clear on this. You want to go up the career ladder. You feel you're being looked over for a promotion, but it sounds like, and then you sort of give them the scenario all back again. The benefits of working, you give them the benefits of working with you. I could help you with your confidence issues. We could work together on creating a clear picture of what you want for your future. And it's an investment. You can't do this on your own. I've had a lot of experience of this. And then I also say, because it might sound like it's getting a bit salesy, and this is a really fun, positive experience. You know, this isn't doomy, going to a therapist, you know, it's head in hands, oh my God, I've got to see my coach. No, this is, I can't wait to see my coach. This is a fun, positive, exciting, inspirational, motivational, thrilling experience that I hope you will love, and I'll do everything I can to ensure that you like it, because it's progress that really feels good and it really works. So you make sure that they've got a sort of positive feeling there, and they are guaranteed results if they are committed. So then it gets to like last 2 minutes. So here's what we can do. I'm going to email you my welcome pack now with my client questionnaire form, my packages, and a few other things you might want to consider. Oh yeah, that'd be great, because they want to get off the call, but they don't want to say sometimes yes or no. And I sometimes do say, is there anything still before we go that is stopping you from committing? Is there anything you're not sure of? Would you like to have another 10 minutes on another day if there's something you're not sure of? Well, no, I think you've been quite thorough. Or what would hold you back? What would stop you from saying yes right now? I need to think about it. I need to look at my finances. I need to talk to my husband or my wife, whatever. Okay, what I'm going to do is email you my welcome pack, and I'm going to get my VA to follow up tomorrow to see if you're ready to take the next step and work with me. So they know that the welcome pack's coming right now, and then Caroline, my VA, straight away in the morning sends an email, have you had chance to look, are you ready to book? And it's always, are you ready to book, not have you thought about it, is your first session. But as we get towards the end of the call, sometimes I get people say, well, I'm talking to quite a lot of coaches right now, so you're one of many, and I always say the same thing, fantastic, so you should audition us all. Because it really is true, and you know this as coaches out there, sometimes we don't actually want that client either. And you think, phew, that was a close shave. I really would find that client very hard work. You know, you can tell from the energy if it's your kind of client. So don't forget, this discovery call isn't you with the begging bowl. You can equally say, no, I don't want this in my life or in my practice. I can always recommend another coach to this person, but I sort of think this isn't for me. But I always say, oh, that's great. You must go and talk to lots of coaches, because getting the right fit for you and your coaching is half of the journey. If you don't like your coach, or you don't trust them, or you don't feel you can be open and honest with them, or you're nervous around them, it's not going to work. And equally, this is when you stand up for yourselves, coaches. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. You might not want to work with my kind of humour and my kind of way. That's fine. If you want someone who's a bit more serious, who's had more corporate background, I can help you. So don't sort of hold on to their leg as they're going out the door. please use my services. Think about holding it lightly, like we have to hold our dreams lightly, like a little butterfly. if we clench it, it becomes despair. So let them go gently. Yes, please do go and have your sessions with other coaches. I'll send you the welcome pack. You know where I am. It'd be lovely to work with you. And even if we don't get to work with each other, I always say this, if we don't get to work with each other, well done for coming this far and making the call. And that shows you're on the first step to making some real positive changes in your life. And I'm very glad you've done that. So well done, and have a very good evening. So that's how I leave it. And, you know, I really look forward to working with you. But if it's not me, good luck with your pursuit of writing a book or whatever. So hugely generous goodbye, hugely generous. Like, I don't need you, come back, anything with a pulse or not necessarily a pulse, anything. Let me coach you for money. You know, it's like, let them go, but with huge generosity, because basically the more you give away, they think, oh, that was really nice. And sometimes if I have someone who's like very nervous or has got issues around shame, I might send them, I was really good to talk to you, 2 days after, I haven't heard from them, I might send them a TED talk or the Brené Brown talks, or I've just been thinking of you, maybe you like this article that I saw. Almost 100% of those that I send that to become clients. It's almost as if your generosity of sending them tools, regardless of whether they've become a client or not, makes them want to become a client. Do you understand that kind of goodwill? Like, I was thinking about you, and you might like this piece that I've read about decluttering or overthinking. Anyway, good luck and have a good week. And they sort of think, well, that's very kind. She's obviously not desperate for me to be a client. I'll be a client. So it sounds a bit cynical, but it's not. But it's just kind of generally providing a really nice service. And as we know as well, people don't always buy like we buy. I know very quickly when I go shopping what I want, that I will love it and I'll buy it. Some people need to go back to the shops a few times. So you might have a trial session, 3 months down the line, they might say, I'm ready now. I wasn't in the right frame of mind. I didn't have enough money. There was a lot of other things going on. So it's not a no. It might be no, not right now. So it's really good to keep the door very wide open as you leave them. You know, that you're there, you liked them, that you can come back anytime. Now, a new thing that I've started to do is, because remember, if you put the phone down and you might be the client and then your kids are calling you, what's for dinner, and the dog needs to be walked, and you go out and you're thinking, that was a really amazing call with that coach. I feel really positive and upbeat, and I'd like to work with her. The next day you're on the commute, you're back at work. The energy from the call starts to go down. And we all do this. We forget how wonderful it was to talk to the coach or to see a particular movie or to have a lovely experience. And as life takes over in the next few days, you're not going to be at the forefront of their minds. And as I say, not everyone buys straight away. Like, I'll get off the phone and I'll say yes to Caroline or yes to Dawn. I want her to be my coach. So they might put it on hold, life takes over, and suddenly you've gone right down the bottom of the list of to-do things. So what I've started to do is, like on this, like a little Zoom call, I have filmed me saying, it was really great to talk to you, because of how life takes over. When you get off the call, expect to feel quite happy and upbeat that you've spoken to someone who really understands you and wants to help you. But because life will take over, by tomorrow or a few days afterwards, you may forget how you're feeling now. Please watch this film again to remind yourself of how wonderful it feels to work with a coach. I know it's a bit upfront, but it took me 2 minutes on a little Zoom, which I add to the welcome pack. So when they click on my welcome pack, they've got that little film of me. Like, brilliant to talk to you. Remember this feeling. This is how it feels to work with a coach. Here's my welcome letter. And so that's just a little extra little kind of scoop up after you come off the phone to remind them of you. And if they revisit the welcome pack in a week, they've still got that little film, you know.
I think that's a really lovely touch. It reminds me of when I was a trainer, that there was some statistics, and off the top of my head it says something like, you know, if they don't take action within 10 minutes after the training session, they're, you know, 10% likely to have forgotten whatever. But ultimately it's saying after 2 weeks, they're 90% likely not to do anything. So, and it decreases every day. As you say, their energy, their optimism, their thought process, it all diminishes. So that's a really lovely, I'll adopt that myself, that little video touch. I think that's lovely. Well done.
Well, yeah, because it's so alien to them. They've never used a coach before, so it feels fantastic at the time. Then afterwards, if they have a bit of self-doubt anyway, oh, was it really that good? Am I just imagining it? Do I really need it? Well, don't forget, nobody needs us. What they do need is coaching. Nobody says, I need a coach today, but what for? I don't know what for. No, they need help with confidence. They need help with their career. They need help with overthinking and anxiety and whatever else we can help with. So that's what we've got to remind them, that we help them with that. And it's not so much about us, but providing the solution for them.
And of course, there's nothing tangible, is there? So it's easy to forget.
Yes.
It's feeling. It's a bit like, as a thought field therapist, somebody could come to us with an eating disorder, and through tapping, very, very quickly, or a phobia or whatever, very, very quickly, what is a massive fear has diminished. And then they're almost left thinking, well, it couldn't have been that bad, really, because I'm over it in 10 minutes of tapping. So maybe I kind of imagined the whole thing. It's like, hello, this was ruining your life. That's, that's how valuable tapping, coaching, etc. is. And we've got to make sure that they hold on to those feelings, haven't we, in some way?
It is. And also, that's where your ongoing marketing is important. So there's no point having that discovery call, then 3 weeks later sending a newsletter out. You have to keep your newsletter weekly, or your Instagram, or your messages on Facebook. It has to be consistent, and reminders. So I do get people say, after the call I went off and then I got really busy and had to go on holiday, but your newsletter reminded me. So it's kind of keeping the little messages coming out all the time. You may not need me now, or life's taken over, but you put something in your newsletters or your messages that go out there, it will trigger them. Oh yes, I am still stuck in the same place, and I do need to speak to a coach now.
So otherwise known as a CRM program or an RCM program. It's managing your customers in that pipeline until they're ready.
Yes. What I have also done before now is, if it's gone a whole week, and even if Caroline has contacted them and they've heard nothing, yes, nor or no, I do no one wants to be hounded. I hate that when you sign up to something, you're getting a daily, are you ready? You know, it's very salesy and draggy. So about a week afterwards, I would say, hi, Steve, how are you? I haven't heard from you. I hope you're well. Have you thought about when you want to start your coaching yet? Here's 10 reasons why it might be a good idea to use a coach. And I list, it's a sort of a copy and paste email I send out. 1, we can't do it on our own. 2, it saves a lot of time, it's highly effective, and just do your 10 things. And it's a toolkit for life. Once you've learned how to do this, you've got the tools yourself. I look forward to hearing you. I would say 2 out of 10, if they haven't heard from them, might tip in with that one. Just like a final call. Haven't forgotten you. Are you ready yet? Here's 10 reasons why you'll never regret using a life coach. It's just a little reminder, you know.
So how important is knowing your conversion rate to you, Carole-Ann, in terms of, you know, so many people per call gets you this client, so many people per following up gets you this client?
Well, I have to say, there's something gone wrong with the economy this year. It's not as buoyant as it was. So I used to be able to turn at least 7 out of 10 into clients. For whatever the 3 that weren't, that was probably timing, money, or they were going away, or they just didn't do it. It's been a bit harder this year, but I'm still doing my same. In fact, I've upped my kind of my fishing net that goes out, and to try and hook them in and kind of gently bring them back to me. But it is quite high. I mean, I would say it's now like 6 out of 10 rather than 7 or 5 out of 10. But, you know, people are worried about Brexit. It's starting to melt a bit now, and I'm finding there's a few more green shoots coming through. But, you know, one has to keep trying different approaches. And if it means being a bit more upfront and saying, well, you know, how much is this costing you not to use a coach right now? Can you carry on living with it? How's the strategy to get them onto a call? Well, actually, even getting the discovery call is a triumph for you as the coach. That means they've probably gone. Don't forget that people looking for a coach have been in a process maybe for years before they even make that phone call. It could be like several difficult partners later, or being looked over for promotion yet again, has finally sunk through, I need help. So the journey that they've had to finally booking a call with you has been huge. So we have to honour and respect that when someone gets on the phone, it hasn't been a quick, oh, I'm just going to phone a coach. It's been months, maybe years, or even friends and family saying, for goodness sake, get some help. So that's why the discovery calls are very powerful and poignant half hour you have with them. How do I get well, we all have sales funnels, don't we? How do I get them to do that? My newsletters, I try and get one out a week, and I always say, if you liked what I've said here, book a call. It goes straight to my website. You can book on the calendar there. Twitter, putting things out on Twitter, Instagram every day. I have I write something for Instagram, and it goes across Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, the same picture and message every day. I think it's just getting hits to the website and people see. And on page 1 of my website, it's sign up for your free life lessons and free coaching tips by my newsletter. So I think it's mainly hits the website, or you could go, if you go into networking groups, I'm giving away a half hour or 45 minutes in person. I try to do most of the discovery calls on the phone rather than in person, because it's quite time consuming. And I charge £10 for mine now, simply because I've got a lot of no-shows, people wasting time. I'm on benefits. Why does it cost so much? Well, if you're even paying the £10, there's a commitment. So it's almost like the filter is, they've been to your website, they've seen your messages, they've been through a long journey themselves, finally paying £10, which is redeemable if they sign up to a package, they've made the call. So every discovery call, they're almost there. They've done a lot of work, they've done a lot of searching, they've looked at what you're doing, and you seem right for them.
I mean, there are some statistics out there that it says, Helen, that it takes about 11 touch points before somebody's going to commit and spend money. So that 11 touch points would include things like signing up for the newsletter. And it's got to be very sort of low cost, like the £10 for the discovery call. But it's a buying signal, as you say, Carole. They're there. But it's also a positive exchange of energy, which is why I'm pleased to hear that you charge for it, because I'm very against all these freebies, particularly on social media, where people feel like they're being spoon-fed everything for free. So they have 15 minutes with one person and half an hour with you, and before they know it, they don't actually need to pay for any coaching. So paying for something or offering a testimonial or a referral helps the coach who's has anxiety around asking for money. It helps them get over asking, because they're asking for something small. So ask for a testimonial, ask for a referral, ask for £10 and so on. But that positive exchange of energy, as you say, Carole, reduces the no-shows, because why would they show up when there's no perceived value to it? They've got nothing to lose. They think your time is free. It's not. So I think that's a really important tip there, Carole, and to put a charge on this discovery.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll say this now, I'm 17 years a coach. I gave away so much and did silly things on the discovery call. As I say, give people aha moments, throwing the coaching toolkit at them, and then, oh, I'm fine, I'm great, thanks so much, how wonderful. I'm fine, I don't need you right now. Oh gosh, where did I go wrong? Not following up properly, not being closing and being clear enough about how it's so important you can't do this on your own, and how I'm really committed to people and guaranteeing the results. If you do the work, I'm here to support you. I'll get you there. Really saying very proud, absolute sentences. Really be owning your own power as a coach. Don't be timid. Be really proud of what you do. We're game changers. We change lives, and really get behind the person who's phoning you. If you do public speaking, or if you do presentations, always has your last slide. Book, as you're here at this special event, you can book just for today, our 50% off, or it's for free. Especially if it was like you're talking to lawyers or career women, it might be worth just wavering the £10 or £20 that you're charging, because that's your core audience and potential clients. But I do think you should charge. I think it saves a lot. Some people charge and pay and still don't show, but that's, who knows, whatever reason that is. But I think it shows that you value yourself, and even that half an hour is of value.
It reminds me of what Peter was another guest speaker that we had back in January, February time. He said, as coaches, are we looking for transactional customers, or are we looking for relational clients? And the difference is a transactional customer just wants the cheapest and they don't really care about a relationship, but a relational client is somebody who we're going to have that collaborative relationship with. So when we have that discovery call, you can talk about, you know, when do you want to start building on the momentum of the things that we've discussed today. It's almost like, well, fait accompli, of course we're going to work together, but a transitional customer is going to say, no, I'm going to phone another 10, which is part of the due diligence, and they should do that. But like you said, when you're out shopping, you know when you know you've got the right one.
No, sometimes I have people just say, I'm ready to go. I don't even really need this call. I'm just ready to sign up to, you know, that's fantastic. Yeah, and I don't see it as sales. You're having a conversation. Say if you were looking for a wedding outfit and you went into a lovely fashion shop and you thought, well, I've got a nice top here. And you'd expect the sales assistant to say, yeah, but we've also got a jacket and shoes. But because the sales assistant's scared of selling, they don't tell you. So now you've got to walk around John Lewis rooms to try and find the jacket and shoes to go with it. That's selling is sometimes just helping. So let me show you how I can help you choose my services. How I can help you is I can help you with your confidence. I can help you get clarity. I can help you get rid of this horrible fuzzy feeling of life's not feeling great. You're on the hamster wheel of life. That's what I help you with. And I'm not selling to you now. I'm just telling you what I can help you with. And that's the difference. It's not selling. It's not salesy. It's this is what I do, and this is how I help. And I'd like to serve you and help you get to where you want to be. And this is how we can do it together. So get rid of this, oh, I've got to close the sale. It's more like I'm just really making sure I make the most of that 30 minutes. They're very clear on how I can help them. I've come across as warm, empathetic and understanding and experienced, and that they feel got in some way. They're understood, they're in safe hands. And even if they've never used a coach before, they go away feeling, right, this sounds brilliant, great potential here, you know. And if there's anything that you're selling there, it's just the awesomeness of coaching. It's not the money bit of it. This is brilliant. Really believe in your coaching skills, coaches, because we do amazing things.
So how important do you think, you know, when you said, oh, they get me or they understand, things like the VHF and all the mirroring and the clean language, all those coaching tools that we're taught, that it's actually really important to do them in the discovery call, I think. But I mean, what do you think?
I already know a lot about that. I do some mirroring, but I think how after all the years I've been coaching, and I've coached so many people and thousands of hours of coaching, is quite intuitively get that what this person really is looking for. And they might say, oh, it's career. And then you just ask a few more questions and you realise it's not that. It's that they're not happy with the communication at work, they're being looked over, it's their confidence, it's how they're presenting themselves. And have the courage to go a bit deeper. Also, you know, show some of your skills. If I was working with you, I'd be looking for you to be doing this, this and this. Help them see the potential that they could be as well. You know? Let's not just write a short story. Let's write a bestseller. Let's. I'm sure you can aim a bit higher than that. That's you're 3/4 of the way there. Let's really go for it. You know, really get on side with their dreams. Really believe in them. We do that anyway. Yeah. But I think what I do is I really listen to the energy of the voice, what's not being said, and how I might just get right under that story. And we all know from years of coaching that what they're saying isn't necessarily what it really is. That's when you do a bit of Harry Potter magic and they go, oh, how did you know that? Oh, you know, just hundreds and thousands of hours of coaching and 17 years of one after another clients, you know.
Well, it's another subject, isn't it? What to charge. People just, you know, especially the new practitioners, don't understand how to calculate a charge. And then there's the, you know, the whole retainer package and the membership. which is going to make the most money, which is going to get their message out to the biggest, widest audience possible. But that's a whole other subject, I guess.
Well, you know, that's a whole other subject you could put as a Zoom call for, you know, how to charge. When I recently had a graduate, this is in spring this year, he said, I only want 2 clients a week, so that's £500 an hour. And he's got 2 clients on that.
Yeah.
A week. I was like, oh my goodness, I trained him well, didn't I? He said, well, I haven't got much time, I only want to work 2 hours a week as a coach, so £500 an hour, that'd give me £1,000 a week.
Yeah.
I've got other stuff to do. Well, okay then.
Yeah.
You know, and then someone else might say, oh, £45, I'm pushing it, you know, like it's really it's not what you feel comfortable with. I think you've got to start really valuing yourself. All the money you spent on your training, all the hours of who you are as a human being, the losses you've had in your life, the traumas, the upsets, the triumphs, the lows, the highs, are all part of your fantastically precious real estate that you're selling here. If you've been overweight, if you've been bereaved, if you've been made redundant, if you've had makes your empathy and your life experiences very rich. It's probably the only career in the world where negative knockbacks are kind of golden nuggets. You know, here we've been there. No one wants to see the coach, hey, I've always been dead skinny, hugely rich, dated Leonardo DiCaprio, come and have me as your coach. We think, well, she's unbelievable. How will she know what it's like to not be able to squeeze into your jeans and feel like this and not have the, you know, you want someone who's real, but equally, just because you're real doesn't mean saying you can't charge a good rate for your hour's experience.
Exactly. I remember listening to a talk by Tony Robbins, and he said, whatever you think you're going to charge, times it by 5 and just go with it. You can always bring your rate down, but you can't put it up so easily. So
yeah, someone said to me, if you're quiet at the moment, put your prices up. How does that work? And then someone else said, move the decimal point. Every now and again, just move the decimal point. Yeah. So someone I know was getting £500 for a talk. I'm going to move. She got £5,000 and they didn't blink.
Wow. Yeah, we do sell ourselves too cheap sometimes, don't we?
Well, I've had 2 clients recently say, I'm surprised at how low you are. So I'm going to be spending a few weeks now revisiting my offer, and you know, it's like being slightly out of your comfort zone when you do it, and then it becomes normalised.
Exactly. So I love the idea of charging for that, you know, the discovery call. I think we all do, Helen. We're with you on that. So, and especially the little follow-up video. I think that's great because feedback is the lifeblood of any business. You know, not every client is going to come your way, but ask them, you know, why didn't they choose you? What can you learn from it next time? You'll get some great feedback for your CPD learning.
Yeah, great. And you know, it's always thinking afterwards, how could I have done this better, is what you put into the next discovery call, right? And little tools and techniques that work for you. Yeah. I mean, I never phone them back the next day, but some people do. Would you like me to ring you tomorrow to see how you're feeling, or a week from now? But I don't really do that. But I have the little film and my VA, and then the week after was the 10 reasons why you'll never regret using a coach, you know? And then I sort of feel I've done it all. I've covered everything there, you know.
I think it's, you know, a big part of our job is empowering clients. We give them the choice. They go away, they make the decision. Do they want to stay in victim mode, or do they want to take some action? And if they've got to take some action, they've got to do most of the work. I don't see it as my role as a coach to do a lot of the work.
No, but I do think as your role as a businesswoman to make sure you've done everything to get a potential.
Yeah, you've got to have that really good pipeline, the CRM program and the follow-up feedback, etc. You've got to do those lessons learned and keep evolving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I hope it's been helpful. If there's any last questions anyone wants to ask before we go, but have a go, you know, see how you get on. But even if you just think afterwards, oh, darn, I wish I'd done it this way, just think, oh, the next one then, I'll do it again. I'll come up with my own little way. And then you look at all the ones who have become clients. What do you think you did on that call that made it work for them? You know, so the ones who say, yes, I'd like to sign up, what was it about that call that tipped them in? And sort of learn your own techniques that way, you know.
Yeah, keep your conversion rates so that you can see that you're improving from your figures. in each element of that pipeline. That's really important for your confidence and that you're on the right track.
Or maybe it's you only do discovery calls like this on Zoom or Skype. That might be a way of convincing some people. Some people aren't very technological, they don't like that sort of thing. Maybe that works for you. Book a Skype call with me. Might make it a bit more humanising for the potential client, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, good luck. The main thing is
questions, anybody? Because while we've got Caroline in the hot seat, we don't want to let her go, and then you think afterwards, shucks, I should have asked that question. Of course, you know, no question is a silly question, but you might be too nervous to ask it. So you can always send it to me or send it direct to Caroline, and we'll answer it afterwards. But this is why we have people like Caroline on these calls, because we need to mirror excellence. We need to mirror masters who are actually already doing it. So thank you for the generosity of your time and spirit as usual, Caroline. I'm sure everyone's taken a lot from it and feel quite energized and think, gosh, I'm going to go and look at my my package and how I can improve it.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll see you again. Thank you very much.
So much. Have a good evening, everyone. Yeah, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.